Oktoberbrawl decks tend to lean towards is the temple style decks, because you can't, you know, make lean aggressive decks. You can't make lean control decks. But so we'll see how those, you know, powerful commons from both of these sets hurt Firefly and some of the elemental synergy in Tar Creeper. All these cards can be powerful in the right hands.
Right, this looks like a reasonable mid-range Shaman deck coming out from Dog. I mean, we saw that Cobalt Scalebanes were in there, and then we also saw a mech in there, and now we see Elementals and Totems. So there's basically, you know, a wide spectrum of things and threats from Shaman to deal with here. And Reynad playing the Zoo Warlock, but he misses a very critical turn 2 play against the ever-infamous Coin Totem Golem.
Yeah, in the past, if we, you know, look back to previous sets, Zoo Warlock does have a pretty decent win rate against Shaman. Zoo Warlock was one of the decks that could stand up against mid-range Shaman in its best era. You know, it's received some tools since then, like Maelstrom Portal that can, you know, swing boards, but Cogmaster.
Weird. Yeah, it's just, you know, pretty much the mishmash group of tribes here. And I guess they're basically a melting pot Shaman, if you will.
Yeah, we haven't really seen a mech, I don't think.
We saw Spider Tank in the opening
Spider
hand.
Tank, that's right, yeah.
Just mulliganed away.
And I think in both weeks so far, we've seen Power Mace come out. I think it was Dog that had that in his deck, so that's some more mech synergy. It's also the pretty average stat line now for a 3-mana weapon with Fire War Axe.
That's right.
Coming down to its
Power
level.
Mace is like a better Fire War Axe.
It's super good, man. Unless, of course, you're buffing something into BGH range. Then it's not strictly better.
It is not strictly better. You're right.
I like playing the strictly better.
We found the corner case. Dog already introduced with a little bit of a roadblock. That Voidwalker timing from Reynad has completely disrupted Dog's normal plan. We'll pick up a value trade with this Flame Tongue Totem, but by giving away the Flame Tongue Totem, I think Dog's saying, I don't think this totem is nearly as valuable as being able to set up better tempo for the future turns, because he's going to discount Things from Below. And because, you know, Things from Below, Flame's Faces, Calamos, those are really powerful individual cards. You're not necessarily going as wide onto the board and be able to utilize Flame Tongue Power's full potential, which is using small tokens or totems for traits.
Yeah, and, you know, he planned ahead. Next turn, he's going to be able to Mana Tide Totem up, and then play double Thing from Below for free. So he's going to be able to hide Mana Tide Totem behind and develop those. But the question is, you know, is he falling too far behind at this stage? Because it seems like Reynad's going to be able to push through if he's got, you know, a couple minions, which he gets the buff from Possessed Villager on both of those Darkshire Councilmans. But definitely a swing turn that he set up deliberately with the pretty weak turn on turn 4.
Jeez, I mean, yeah, this is a really powerful push coming out here from Dog. Reynad does have a way to answer most of this. It will cost most of his board unless he's able to pick up a really powerful card to draw off of Life Tap, or maybe off of Cult Master. I was looking at, man, you know, double Darkshire Councilman with the Possessed Villager, such strong synergy together. But does Reynad want to actually be able to trade all of these 5 health minions with Darkshire Councilman against Things from Below? It doesn't look very appetizing there.
Well, it all depends on what he can pick up with Cult Master here. There may be some combat buffs that he can pick up. Potentially Soulfire could be an option. Yep. But at the moment, he doesn't have a way to get through and then kill the Mana Tide Totem, because he'd have to push through with this Darkshire Councilman and then only have 1 damage, unless he hits a shot with the Flame Juggler. But I think that the Ravasaur Runt might be a better choice, because it's just better on average than Flame Juggler would be. Actually, that's tough, because a 2/3 body is not terrible. The Ravasaur Runt may not have another chance to easily activate like it would now. And Divine Shield, not bad.
Yeah. Shield and Minibot was a staple card for Paladin. If you're able to guarantee it out for Ravasaur Run, I wouldn't be upset. You can see Dog's hand, again, piecing together a little awkwardly, primarily because he doesn't have access to that Maelstrom Portal or Lightning Storm yet. And he has that Thunderblood Valiant. We're talking about totems as potential synergy as well. Totems, elementals, mechs.
He's overloading a lot, though, going into this next turn. And Calamos is kind of stranded. He hasn't picked up an elemental to get that synergy. But, you know, he's still quite a few turns away from playing that. If he is able to pick up an elemental next turn, he could play an Elemental and then set up for Kalamos to try and go for an AoE clear.
Yeah.
Which might be able to help him swing back. So even though Reynad does have a pretty big card advantage here, I don't think that Dog is necessarily out of this game because an Elemental draw could swing things incredibly.
Yeah. And Reynad paying huge respect to the Flame Wreath Faceless, does not want to take too much damage from it or let it rule the board, and leaving up the Mana Tide Totem to draw yet another card. So the card advantage is actually not nearly as severe as you would think for Shaman versus the Warlock that has access to Life Tap. Dog does have ways to climb back, and this Jade Claws, also another big pickup to help clean up some of the board and set up. Oh, realized he should have killed the Archer Commander, I guess.
Yeah, I actually thought he was doing something clever. I was trying to figure out why he would attack the flame up instead. I was like, maybe he sees a trade that Reynad's going to make that's going to make, taking that one less damage relevant in the long run. But
I like
nope,
that Dog made the play dead face,
Yeah.
where the dog's eyes are so bright and blue.
Yeah. Oh man.
You realize you traded into the wrong minion on stream.
Yeah, Dog's his sleep schedule's been a little bit weird lately, I'm sure. He's in Korea, and he's been playing in a few tournaments lately with Trinity Series going on this week, too. So.
Yep. And streaming a lot, too.
And streaming a lot, too.
He's putting the work and the time. But it's like Dog's saying, doing this kind of challenge definitely has its moments where it's really fun as well, because you realize that you're just solving a bunch of puzzles.
Mm-hmm.
And, quite frankly speaking, Dog's one of those players that likes those challenges. He welcomes it, even though some people might say, oh, this meta is really hard to beat. Dog really likes challenging himself and taking upon his own responsibility to figure out a solution. So here's an Elemental. Fire Elemental is a very strong base card, and it sets up for Kalamos, and that could be a huge board swing that he's looking for. And if he's able to get ahead and stick Thunderbluff Valiant, that might be game over.
Yeah, that will very likely clear the board with the exception of the Devilsaur Egg, which could put a wrench in his plans, but...
That lines up perfectly for Soulfire, and I mean, this could be the scenario where Reynad might have too much damage by the time Dog stabilizes. Might be a photo finish here.
Yeah, this one's going to be pretty close. I wonder if Kalamos is even in his mind right now. Because it is a legendary, and because they got very limited on Goro packs.
I think it depends on whether or not Reynad scouted Dog, which, seeing how busy Reynad is, obviously streaming and dying to the blue, I think it's important that you scout your opponents. But Reynad's busy, man; he doesn't have time for all that all the time.
Well, Dog's gonna get this down now. Of course, it is gonna summon the Devilsaur from the Devilsaur Egg. But Dog does have some health to work with.
It's health to work with, but here's the big thing too. That Rusty Horn to stop any kind of pressure for life total is going to be tough for Reynad. But now, because Reynad's protected his life so well, he has access to his hero power. Wow, what a perfect set of 8 mana to spend with 2 4-cost cards coming in. Perfect trade, draw, and the follow-up pressure. Man, would you crackle the Cult Master here?
Might have to, just because I don't think... Well, I don't know. He's going to have card advantage anyway because of Life Tap, and he's going to Life Tap every turn anyway.
True.
Is the extra card really going to matter, or is being able to more easily get through the Dark Iron Dwarf going to matter more?
Well, you guarantee a kill on the Cult Master. Crackle does have a chance of not landing on the Dark Iron Dwarf, and I think that's what Dog's weighing here. What do I want to remove? Also, if I kill a Dark Iron Dwarf, it also gives him a card, so he can spend his mana. So Cult Master is a guaranteed kill, versus the Dark Iron Dwarf has better scaling into the later stages of the game because of its life total that it can use for trades.
Well, this
the spell damage totem. But again, he's kind of weighing the decision. Do I give him a card, or do I care about combat damage and board tempo?
Yeah, now, with the guaranteed kill, and with this play happening, Cold Master doesn't trade on the board, but I guess he is. He's just worried about the extra card advantage, and Dark Iron Dwarf has the opportunity to trade really well with the Thunderbolt Valiant if Reynad's able to pick up another buff, let's say a second Lance Carrier, another Dark Iron Dwarf, Abusive Surgeon if that's in the deck.
Reynad wisely taking out the totems. The power of Thunderblood Valiant is each totem gets increasingly stronger and it stacks. It's not necessarily a linear growth because The hero power adds to the previous totems. There's a Firefly, which is definitely one of the weakest draws available to Dog. But that Flametongue totem is still really good right now.
Yeah, and Firefly is, I mean, it's not too bad in this situation because it's going to help him clean up the board and, you know, protect his life total a little bit. And being able to hide the Flametongue totem behind a Stoneclaw totem is going to give him a little bit of an edge as well, because he can trade those Fireflies and Flame Elementals up.
Oh man, and it looks like Reynad's just losing too much of the board, and this is all that Dog needed. His last big push was with this Thunder Bluff Valiant.
Yeah. And
because he's able to survive, he's able to get a huge amount of power and pressure onto the board. Reynad feels like he has to even play Direwolf Alpha before guaranteeing any trades.
Whoa. And now with a wide board state and a big move picked up with Cobalt Scalebane, he's got, what, 13 damage on board right now? Of course, he's going to trade off because, you know, the only way he loses at this point if a crazy amount of damage comes out from hand from Reynad, and he does have good trades, so he's going to be able to set up lethal next turn, and Reynad needs a miracle. He's got a Deathwing tucked into the Zoo Warlock?
Maybe. Or Blood Reaver Goldan, perhaps? Nah, it's just going to be a concede there. Dog able to just barely survive the pressure from Zoo, and it was thanks to two things. One, Calamos, the Primal Lord, being able to land the Invocation of Lightning and shoot away all the board, which is huge. But most importantly, Dog had one final reload with that Thunderbluff Valiant, and you can see how much weight that carried. Because Flametongue by itself, Fireflies by itself, even if he drew the Cobalt Scalebane without that Thunderbluff Valiant controlling the board, would have been trouble.
Yeah, and that Calamos pull from the pack for Dog is a really good one because he was already playing Shaman in the previous weeks. And Calamos, you don't really need many elementals to get that done. You're already playing Fire Elemental, and the Firefly, you know, if you draw that any time before turn 8, you can hold on to the second Flame Elemental and play it right before Calamos, and that gets the job done. So I really like that inclusion, and a lot of the tribes being represented there with totems.
Yeah, let's go ahead and ask Dog about that. So how would you call that Shaman deck, Dog? Because it went all over different directions, had representation everywhere, truly a man of the people.
Yeah, it runs all the best cards, like 4-mana 7/7 Totem Golems, and I had to include the mechs because I didn't have enough 1-drops. So I think I run 6 1-drops with 1 Squire, double Firefly, and the Cogmasters have to be included, otherwise I just don't have enough. But yeah, Calamos is a good pull. I got pretty lucky with that. So.
Yeah, I called it Melting Pot Shaman, but apparently Dog calls it Good Shaman or Good Card Shaman.
Exactly.
Reynad, I didn't get to see too much of what was going on with the Zoo, but it just felt like you were sticking to the straight up game plan of sticking to the board there. Any thoughts on how that game went, or do you feel like you want to move on to game 2?
No, it was super winnable. I think I misplayed the turn that he played the 7/7. I shouldn't have killed it. I should have just gone face. I would have won that game. It was it's tough when you play sealed to play around certain cards, right? Because you don't really know what they open, so you kind of have to assume they don't have every legendary and stuff. I was more worried about Devolve, but definitely didn't expect Calamos. And then the 10/10 taunts definitely feel like those mattered a lot more than Thunder Bluff. But rough game. We'll win the next 2.
Sure, yeah. Obviously, stopping the Darkshire Councilman push was significant, and Reynad very humbly admitting that he could have played a little bit better. So let's hopefully game number 2 will turn around. Good luck, guys. As we go into the next game, I want to remind people that they have to pick different classes for this time around, and we'll see. We'll see if Reynad's got something else up his sleeve here, because again, we didn't really see too much different. His Zoo deck seems to have used maybe 1 or 2 card differences from what we saw in the previous weeks. Considering that, you know, and it kind of makes sense. In the recent expansions, Zoo didn't get too much useful things compared to maybe last year and the year before.
They got a little bit more discard mechanics.
Yeah, there you go.
But it's hard.
Synergy. Imagine if you opened the quest for Warlock. It's like, well, I don't know if I can do something like this.
It's hard to make that work, even in Constructed, when you have access to all the cards. So I can't imagine it would work in a sealed environment like this. But Zoo has always been pretty good because it's low to the ground. Life tap gives you you know, that good card advantage, and you can play the board, but Dog, good Shaman, was able to get through, but one in this one, Paladin, Mistress of Mixtures, seems like a pretty good card. And there's Bone Mare, the common.
One of the big MVP cards for at least limited format enthusiasts in Hearthstone. Bone Mare from Knights of the Frozen Throne is very, very strong, but look at this opening hand from Reynad. It's got a lot of early game explosiveness.
Yeah, we've seen Mage be a staple in a lot of these players' lists because with limited resources, got such good basic cards that, you know, with Fireball, Frostbolt, a lot of removal package. If you're able to get early starts, you can protect it. And it's one of the best classes at synergizing with mechs.
Yeah, and it makes more sense too, because in a sealed environment, you're not supposed to be able to use a card more than the amount of times you've opened it. So, you know, imagine if we're able to have a paper version of Hearthstone. If you opened up, you know, 2 Azure Drakes, that's all you can use across all 3 of your decks. You can't just put 2 Drakes in every single one of your decks.
Yeah.
Just because that's just how it would work in a normal sealed environment. So when Reynad says, well, I have the mechs, I'm just going to put them all in one deck and mech Mage,
Yeah.
that makes the most sense and keep it as a core deck. And he needs to. Dog, in the meantime, is opening up, you know, in this case, he's opened up more than twice the amount of packs Reynad has. So Reynad has to be scrappy and kind of stick to his guns, versus Dog has a lot of freedom and more chances to open up things like the extra scale baits.
And you can kind of already see that advantage taking place with Dog having, you know, more cards from Knights of the Frozen Throne and opening Calamos, and Reynad not really having many cards from the new sets, from the sets from this week. So the votes definitely paying a toll, and now Reynad's going to be able to put double mech on the board, and he wanted to make sure he could put 2 mechs on the board going into a Blast Mage turn to try and go for that big swing. But he does have options going into next turn. If Mech Warper survives, he can play Harvest Golem and Tinkertown Technician, or, you know, if Dog goes on the board and doesn't really remove anything, then he can play Blast Mage.
Well, it doesn't look like Dog can guarantee wipe a mech off all the mechs off the board here. He only has Anti-Keelbot and Consecration as his plays here. Because I anticipate he wants to save Murloc Knight for turn 6. Consecration here clears off everything except the Mech Warper as a 2/1. And you don't even get to play a token to challenge it. Healbot at the very least places a 3/3 minion, but it's so easy for your opponent to trade into. This kind of sucks for Dog.
Yeah, the one thing he does have going for him, he has double Consecration, so he could always, you know, have it in his back pocket to play later, but actually just doesn't remove anything. He's going to hold on to the Truce over Champion charge and just see what Reynad's going to play next.
Yeah, Reynad before didn't really have a good way to squeeze in the Goblin Blast Mage mana efficiently, but now has an option with the Noyatron. But maybe he feels like he wants to collect the value of a bigger board with the Tinkertown Technician and the Harvest Golem.
The Noyatron does block the Truce over. He could punish
True.
Dog for holding on to the attack last turn.
Oh, I like this too. Yeah, the Noyatron to block the weapon is really powerful. But I like having the Harvest Golem because it frees up your hero power, so that way your opponent, if they have Consecration, is less likely to clear your board.
Yeah. And I really like the hold on to the Blast Mage here because it was likely that he would have had to trade in the Worgen Infiltrator anyway, unless he got, you know, kind of fortunate with the Blast Mage hits.
Yeah.
So just utilizing the ping and holding on to the Blast Mage for a bigger board state,
Yeah.
I think was definitely the right call.
Like this preemptive trade to make sure to spread the damage correctly here. He wants Goblin Blast Mage to hit pretty much just minions at this point.
And more notably, the Murloc
Wow.
Knight. That's really good.
Works out really nice. Murloc Knight has bitten the dust, and now Bone Mare has no target until next turn with Firefly. There is Consecrations available over the course of 2 turns as well.
Yeah, and over 2 turns, it will clear. And Dog could be out of the woods by then.
Yeah,
Because he does have a lot to follow it up. With Bone Mare, if he just sticks 1 minion on the board, which past turn 9, he can guarantee win anyway. That's a lot of stats for very little resources.
also a lot of damage too. 5, 10, 12 on the board just by looking at it. And it's going to build up a little bit more with Tinkertown Technician. Oh, reversing switch. So Reynad can get the damage in and reversing switch one of his minions to play outside the range of Consecration. So if Blast Mage attacks for 5, and they can go and then can become a 2/5.
Yeah, and second Consecration has to be on Reynad's radar because that Consecration last turn was quite weak. It didn't really remove much from the board. It actually didn't take, I don't think, any power from the board. So all it did was sort of set up for the second one. So I think Reynad smartly gonna trade some stuff off here, and I think that the reversing switch might be necessary here if he feels like second consecration is on the radar.
He has one more mana, chooses not to do it, and the second consecration will shut down most of Reynad's board. He shakes his head. I mean, second consecration was something maybe he considered, but it's just unlikely that he has it.
Yeah,
And that is such a commanding board swing here. But does Dog have enough time? Because Reynad still has some damage to get in right here. He's got 6 guaranteed with the hero power and the Whirling Blade.
And I'm sure he's got a ton of burn tucked in this deck, with Forgotten Torch being
close.
one of it. Yeah, if he Forgotten Torches this turn and has effectively three Fireball draws in his deck,
Right.
he might be able to close out the game. He did already see an anti-kill bot. I don't know if Dog's going to have 2 or going to have any other means of healing, but at this point he really has no other option. He just has to go for it.
All right, 3 Fireballs in Reynad's deck. Dog, of course, is going to win the board, but what starts to become scary is, does he have enough time?
We'll see. Dog kind of knows. He's like, well, playing off the top of his deck, he should know that that's a spare part as the last card. And Reynad wisely gonna, instead of pinging the face, ping off the damage, because that gives him an extra turn to draw burn. And the big card that he's looking for is either the Ruin Torch or the Fireballs. And this could be big. Winter Flame Burn Bristle could help.
Yep, that's the primary card I'm thinking of to help heal him outside the range. And while there's a lot of other Discovers, though, or other minions that can help disrupt it, you saw one of them, Evil Heckler, coming into it, diluting the pool significantly. Dog making his victory push. 13 damage this turn. Reynad has one more turn to draw lethal. Otherwise, it's a 2-0. Dog throws his hands up. Need the top deck Fireball. Frostbolt. Is that enough? That's enough.
That is.
Wow, the reversing switch onto the taunt minion. Being able to just barely get there. What a crazy game.
Yeah,
exact lethal.
Dog was playing, setting up the 2-turn lethal, I think, is necessary. He knew that Fireball was the card that Reynad was looking for. Couldn't really identify the spare part, so not really anything he could do there. Of course, he could have killed the Sorcerer's Apprentice and lived, but I think going for the 2-turn lethal had to be the right play.
Yeah, I mean, 2-turn lethal is always what you really set up for there. Yeah. So, that was a very back-and-forth game. Reynad, I wanted to ask you real quick. TJ was talking about, the second consecration. Is Reynad thinking about it? Was that on your mind at all when you saw Dog set up that first consecration?
Yeah, it definitely was. I thought about flipping the Blast Mage, but it's a really tough decision to make, because if I do it and he doesn't have the consecration, I lose so much damage, and just like a single big taunt would stop me, right? And he looked like a control deck up to that point, like anti-Keelbot and stuff, so I figured there might have been like a Bog Creeper or something like that, so yeah, I was just a little bit worried about losing to just like a big taunt or something like that if I did flip the Blast Mage. And, it's pretty unlikely to have the second consecration after I've already seen one, so yeah.
Gotcha. You tap into the mindset a little bit of Reynad. Now, Dog, the series is tied 1-1, so the winner of the next game takes it all. And, Reynad is the only person that doesn't have a victory yet. So you could be the guy denying him any kind of joy in the Oktoberbrawl, which I think would be fitting for the theme. So, are you feeling extra pressure for this last game here?
I want to be that guy.
We all want to be that guy. Thanks a lot for joining us. Good luck in Game 3, boys. All right, so we're getting ready for the final match of this best of 3, and Dog wants to play the spoiler, but also get the win for Team Void, because the first match win means a lot for momentum.
Yeah, every young Hearthstone player aspires to be the guy that makes Reynad go 0-3 in the Oktoberbrawl.
Hundreds of people per day.
Hundreds per day.
According to Reynad, aspire to be that guy. Yeah, at least for 10 minutes of his life. Last game's going to be Mage versus Warrior. Dog going to be on Mage, Reynad on Warrior. And Warrior's a class that, is a little bit hard to piece together sometimes. So let's see what Reynad has in mind here. Acolyte of Pain indicates that it's a slower Warrior. I wasn't sure if he was going to just play aggressive
And Forge of Souls.
Did he pick up what I think he picked up? Did he pick up Dead Man's Hand?
I don't even know if that would be good.
Fatigue Warrior. No, wait, he's got Grimy Gadgeteer, so he's just playing like Tempo Mid-Range Warrior?
Yeah, did we see Don Honcho last week? Is it just the hand buff? Maybe some Serenite chain gangs going on? How long can this go on, Dan?
Well, we'll see. Maybe Bolster Warrior? I don't know. I'm curious.
And I don't even know anymore. Silted Swarmer.
Well, hey, Fire Warax gets the job done, but it's stopped by Snow Chugger. Or keeps it in check, at least. And man, is that a good start here for Dog. Being able to be on the coin, have Mana Worm, Cogmaster, and Mex. Reynad will be able to stabilize, but is he going to take too much damage by then? Warrior's a class known for life gain, but it doesn't seem like Reynad's... it doesn't seem like he's got the life gain type of deck here.
He does have some, waves over a few turns to deal with wide board states with double Whirlwind effects with Blood Razor and Whirlwind. If he can pick up another weapon, he can override it and picks up second Whirlwind.
Oh, okay. So now he can clear off most of this board here.
You could double Whirlwind armor up this turn, or you could go for, say...
Execute if he needs to stop taking damage.
Yeah, if he's afraid of the Mana Worm. There's a lot of ways to play it. He could also go for, Acolyte of Pain Whirlwind, but I think he takes too much damage. If that's the case, I think he's just going to set up for the board clear and try and gain effectively as much health as possible with taking the power off the board and being able to armor up in the same turn.
Yeah, it sets up for the Blood Razor really well, like you said. It is just kind of painful in case your opponent pushes a ton of damage this turn. If they play Goblin Blast Mage, if they play Fireball. But I like Reynad's optimistic line. I think that's what you have to do in this position. It's another thing that's slightly awkward too. He can't actually clear off the board and leave that Acolyte to draw cards. So he wants to swing into the Acolyte and then Whirlwind. Take a little bit more damage.
Yeah, but still, this is the, D class to be able to stabilize, but man, Dog's picking up some burn. That Micro Machine's going to be at 3 going into this turn. And then he's got, over the next 2 turns, he's got 4 plus 7. So we go 11, pushes 3. He doesn't have enough to try and set up a lethal through potential armor ups.
But what he can do is play the Yeti and taunt the Yeti to prevent the Micro Machine from getting attacked. The Rusty Horn gives a target to anything, and you want to protect your little Micro Machine that's growing.
And if that Micro Machine's able to attack another turn, next turn is going to be at 5 attack. So that thing will have done a ton of damage if it's able to survive. Reynad needs a big pickup here. He can execute, but beyond that, he's quite stranded.
Yeah, and it looks like he will stabilize, but not in time before the burn just kills him. I don't see a way for Reynad to get out of this. And I commend the very risky choice of bringing Warrior, or at least on paper, it doesn't necessarily sound very good to bring Warrior because of how hard it is to kind of collect everything, because it's very synergy dependent.
Yeah. He's going to be quite sad when he sees that Dog's last remaining cards are Fireball, Frostbolt, Dan.
Yeah, sad is one way to phrase that adjective, I'd say.
And yeah, that is going to be game. With 9 damage from hand and 4 on the board, that's enough. And Dog became that guy.
That is a 2-1 victory. Team Void takes home the first series. And Dog with a little sigh of relief, because that was pretty much all he had. He made a very big push in the early game and also pretty much had the opening nuts. I mean, what else do you really want besides Mana Worms, early mechs, Fireballs, and Burn to bring it home? But that's kind of what the deck excels at, and that's why it terrorized Hearthstone for many months when it first came out.
Yeah, and